Do you see the red
Yeah,
light? Okay, you see it?
I say got it.
What?
Are you recording yet?
Yeah, do you see like the red dot flashing in the top?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So that definitely means it's recording.
Okay,
All right, let me
cool.
put the timer on real fast. All right. Well, good afternoon, Eric. I'm glad
Hey,
I'm glad that you could be here today with me. I'm excited to do a little bit of a coaching session with you here. First question I'd like to ask is this okay if this session is being recorded?
oh yeah, you bet.
Okay, sweet. So now that we got that off, I'd like to ask, is there anything on your mind that you need to like get off your chest right now? Anything keeping you from being like completely available during this coaching session?
Wow, that's an awesome question. Yeah, I had church this morning, so I led church. Tired, but I'm glad to be here. So I think if anything, it'd just be like keeping my mind focused and on the topic, and being able to just do some great thinking together would be fantastic.
Yeah,
So,
totally. No, I'm
and
super.
just full disclosure, what I'm going to talk about kind of touches on your age group. So I do want coaching, but I would love for you to do a little consulting too. Like I'd love if you could wear that coach hat, but also as we talk about culture, if I could ask you some questions as a younger person and you could give me some feedback, I think that would be
Oh,
really helpful too.
yeah, totally.
Okay.
I'm glad that you were able to say that because, sometimes as coaches, you don't want to overstep boundaries and maybe tell someone something that
Yeah.
is just too much? So I
Yeah.
appreciate you telling me that. And yeah, I'm totally here to help you in any ways that you need.
I love it.
And so, yeah, I just want to establish that this is totally confidential. Anything we discuss here is between you and me, unless there is like something that needs to be brought up, or if you're causing harm, or any one of those things.
Yeah.
So now that we've kind of got that out of the way, um, yeah, shoot, what do you want to cover today?
Well, talking about culture, think about my church culture. I'm in a Presbyterian church with a lot of older people in it and some younger people. We're trying to change the culture to get younger. Then it's just kind of frustrating sometimes. It's can be really frustrating sometimes. So I'm really glad to be able to talk to you about it.
Yeah, so you want to bring in younger culture to your church is what
Yeah.
you're seeking to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can I ask why you're looking to do that?
Yeah, I think it's important because that we we want the church to have a future. So, when you look around the congregation, if most of the people are over 60, you just like fast forward 20 years and they're not going to be there. Most of them are going to be, you know, somewhere else,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah. So you're looking to,
probably at home with the Lord, and so it's like, so have it for the church to have a good solid future. It really needs to shift and get younger, and we're starting to, but the culture that we're up against is kind of like the old school mentality and the way we used to do things. And so it's just getting that, embracing the younger culture, you know.
yeah. So what steps are you guys taking as now to bring in maybe a younger culture?
Wow, that's a great question. Well, we're changing how we do worship. So worship is a little more contemporary, but honestly, it's more appealing to like people my age. So when I say younger too, I don't even mean people your age. I just mean people in their 40s,
Yeah.
30s and 40s with kids, that for us would be getting younger. And
Mhm.
then, beyond that, building a community of college students and young adults, that would be probably even beyond what we're doing right now. So I would say right now we're doing some things to try to make the worship service more powerful for younger people, but it's definitely not like a church where a younger person would walk in and be like, wow, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Some would, but most probably wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people don't know what they're looking for until, they found it. And I can see how much you care about um this and wanting this to stay alive. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
Um being able to bring in, I guess, a younger culture definitely can be difficult.
Mm.
And I think there's a lot of different avenues that you can possibly go down, but there's so many options, and you just want to help people at the end of the day. You want to
Yeah.
keep this thing alive, and you
Yeah.
want it to grow and prosper. So I can definitely see that. Do you know of any avenues that you want to incorporate into like the church now to get maybe more eyes on it?
Uh, yeah, more eyes on it. Talk to me a little bit about that. When you say that, what do you mean by more
Yeah.
eyes on?
So I'm thinking like reaching out to maybe like the community around the church, or even like more broad, like a couple communities outside of the church,
Yeah.
maybe hosting like, I don't know, fundraisers and stuff. And I mean, in today's age and time, social media is so powerful. Like, a lot of people definitely do abuse it, but there are ways to create like a lot of hope for people using like social media and the internet, and just like reaching out and getting more eyes on your goal and your mission.
That's really encouraging that you say that. That's awesome. We've done some reaching out directly, some trying to take care of community needs, but maybe talk to me a little more about the power of social media as your kind of consulting role here. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay. So yeah, no, I know from my perspective, um, as a student athlete and as I was going to grad school, I was obviously looking for a program that would fit what I wanted to do, and that's becoming a better leader, better communication
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah.
And when I found this program, I was like, oh man, that's awesome. And then I started diving a bit deeper into the school and saw all their social media, all the events that they host, the charities that they're involved with. Like, you can see when they're doing stuff, when they're doing fundraisers, when they're doing just community service acts.
Yeah.
And that definitely got me into thinking like, wow, like this is something bigger than just, a master's program. Like,
Hmm.
this is a group of people that care. And
Yeah.
I think that could be very beneficial to a lot of people. So, yeah, social media it's it's tricky. It's interesting, but I think that creating a social media account, maybe even for your church,
Yeah.
just maybe not even social media, maybe like a website. Like, is there a website for your
We
church?
have a website and we have social media, but it's not
Yeah.
as the social media is not as targeted or as active as it could be.
Okay.
And yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I just saw from my perspective when I was choosing to go to Concordia, I saw all the things that they were doing for the
yeah.
community around them. And that definitely made me want to be more involved and more a part of it. So,
Well, yeah, I'd love that because highlighting what we do, what we're doing for the community on social media and making it known that we care about the community. I think
mhm,
that's important. Yeah,
I think that could be very beneficial.
yeah.
And yeah, like I said, it's not going to be perfect. And I can tell how much you care about people and this church and this community
Yeah.
that you're a part of. So yeah, I think you definitely have the right mindset of getting more people in, younger people, so this program can survive and thrive.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So could we role play where you are you and I am just talking to you about being a younger person in church stuff?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Ben, we've just met and I'm just curious, like, okay, Ben, so tell me about like people your age in church. Do many of your friends go to church or people like in your circle of friends like or acquaintances go?
Yeah. So my mom loves church. She's a little bit older, but yeah, no, she loves church. My girlfriend loves church, and also the community that I'm a part of right now, the lacrosse team. We all go to chapel together every Friday.
Yeah.
So as a team, we end up doing that. And I think it's very beneficial, not only for growing as a team, but, you know, like they say it every time, like caring about people is what makes us good people.
Yeah.
And yeah.
If as a younger person, if you were gonna be thinking about going to a church, what would be important to you from the outside looking in? What are some of the things you'd be like, this is the kind of church I would like to go to? Would
Um,
you care about the worship music? Would you care about the kind of stuff that was being taught? Would you care about other people your age being there? Kind of what's your thinking?
yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah. So I definitely like music. And yeah, having having nice music, maybe like even an entire band, like it's nice. We definitely have that to kick off our chapel every Friday.
Yeah.
So it definitely kind of gets energy levels flowing a little bit more, I would say, having music and a band. Um, for people my age, I think it's very broad about what you can talk about. Like everyone's going through different things, and I think definitely getting music might be a great start.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that is a good start. Were the other questions?
What questions do people your age have about life? Like what are they looking for? What do they need
About
answers to?
life. A lot of people I would say around my age are looking for direction, you
Hmm.
know? They're not quite sure of what they're looking for exactly.
Yeah.
They're not quite sure of where they might belong or where they might fit in.
Yeah.
So, having a community that makes them feel included and valuable, I think is huge.
Thank you so much for saying that. That's cool because I'm thinking about direction and belonging. That's huge. I'll bet for your generation, those two things are just like, I mean, if I could guess, I bet your generation has had so many different voices coming at you through social media and the culture. It's hard to know who's telling you the truth
Oh, totally, yeah.
and who's got an agenda.
Mhm. No, I can definitely agree with that. It's definitely a
Yeah.
little tough,
Yeah.
but
Like who's telling the truth. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, no, like having a community, um, having a church to belong to feel welcome to is it gives you like that motivation. It gives you that push. And yeah, I think it comes down to about feeling comfortable in your community.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, starting off church with some nice music. I think that honestly makes all of us feel like welcome.
Yeah.
And also another thing that the chapel does every Friday is they have people outside, like a bunch of people like giving high fives, like welcoming everyone in.
Oh, yeah.
So that's always nice.
Yeah, making you feel like, hey, we're glad you're here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it kind of sounds like you're saying if there was no one there to welcome you and the music was like really slow or you didn't connect with it, you'd already kind of be like, nah, I don't know if I want to be here.
Yeah, it might like it definitely brings energy,
Yeah.
having those people and having the music and the people singing, it's nice. It definitely is nice.
What would be some real turnoffs for you? Like what would make you go, oh man, I'm never going back to that church?
Some real turnoffs. Um, definitely. It's tough, but yeah, I think the more that you involve like the people listening, like so it's not just talking, on stage, like being able to have people sing and like even like taking a break and like having another song and getting people up out of their chairs and involving the crowd. I think that, keeps me there and it keeps like the time goes by so fast. Like
Yeah.
so I think involving your audience is definitely an important thing to have.
Mm,
And I definitely feel more included as well when the audience is involved.
yeah. Tell me about feeling included. Why is that important for your generation? I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying
No, totally.
why is it important?
So feeling like you're part of a community definitely gives you a bit of a safety net for me at least. It makes you feel safe.
Yeah.
Um, it makes you want to be vulnerable. It makes you feel okay to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
to break out of your shell maybe and be open and be the person that you were meant to be
Yeah.
instead of creating fake personalities just to match with whatever group you're a part of.
Okay. This is huge. Yeah. And this is like authenticity is a big thing, right?
Totally.
For
Yeah.
your generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
what now let me ask you a question.
yeah.
So what do you think you could incorporate differently into your church to maybe involve the audience more or the people attending church?
Well, I love the conversation. The the old school, like more old school way of thinking about church would be, when I by old school, I mean like your grandparents' generation. Their first question would be, is the church teaching truth? And they would not be looking for connection. I know it's hard for you to believe this. You're going, what are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
They would not be looking for connection. They definitely would not be looking for vulnerability. And they would not care about the music nearly as much as the message. So I'm just telling you the old school. Now I can only talk about Presbyterian. I'm talking the old school
Hmm.
Presbyterian would be, we show up just before church, we sit down and we hear a good message, hopefully that's true. And then after church, we get up and we say hi to people and we go home.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying that's what church should be,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
but it's way different from so this is what I'm talking about, the culture class, which is so great for me to have this conversation with you, because you're talking about energy, talking about being welcome, being included, authenticity, community, which I think are all biblical things, like really good things.
Mhm.
But then what can we do to shift where we are at? And I think that we are doing some of it. And I think I'll have to really kind of think through like what to do more. So we started a coffee shop at the church.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And so the sanctuary blends into a coffee area in the back. And then so what we have now is people show up earlier and they stay later. So there's more visiting. We don't do a good job of welcoming people. So we need to get a welcome team outside the church.
It works
Uh,
wonders. It really does.
yeah, and saying like, "Oh, we're so glad you're here.
Yeah.
Welcome." And when people leave, "Oh, it was great to have you here."
Yeah. Just having that energy at the door is
Yeah,
it gets those people, that are just waking up, it gets them kind of up and excited to be there and feeling like they're important
yeah,
in a
I
way.
like it. Energy at the door. That's good. Um, that's huge. Yeah. Wow, that's good. Um, thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's great. I'm trying to think of what else to apply. Um, but I think I'll have to do some more thinking about it as far as specifically in our church, because we're, like I said, we changed the worship team so that worship is younger, more
Mm.
younger people. But I think including, would it mean a lot to you if you could see someone your age up leading worship? Would that make you be like, hey, or would you care?
I mean, it would definitely be, there would be a sense of encouragement, I believe,
Yeah.
to see someone passionate. Like, honestly, it doesn't really matter the age to me. It matters like seeing how much they care.
Yeah.
I guess it really just does come back to the energy that they bring.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it would be awesome to see someone my age up there talking.
Yeah.
And even if it's not about, like anything crazy, maybe just sharing a story or something like that, just I, I think that could be great.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. Woo, this has been awesome.
Yeah, we definitely or at the chapel that I go to, there's always a new guest speaker, during it, even if it's for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
There's someone and they share a short story related back to
Yeah.
the Bible, and it's definitely like get you thinking.
I love that. That's really good.
All right. Well, so we're approaching the end of our coaching session, and yeah, so you have my email.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always available on email, so you can reach
I
out
love
whenever.
it. I love
If
it.
especially if you have any more questions, I would love to answer them to the best of my knowledge if I
Cool.
can help you in any way. Um, it sounds like you might have the gears turning in your head about a couple different
Yeah. Yeah.
avenues.
For sure. For sure.
So it's good to hear that. And I hope that you can find that little boost of energy.
Yeah. Totally.
I think that would be awesome. So,
I love it. Thank you so much. It's really helpful.
yeah, thank you. All right.
All right. Cool. So let's go through the feedback, my man.
Yeah. Sorry if I wasn't that helpful there.
You were really helpful. What are you talking about? I'm so impressed with you. You're so far ahead of where I was at your age. It's amazing.
It's definitely interesting. It's hard for me to be I definitely like feel comfortable in a coaching position. I feel like.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you saying that and it definitely helps me out a lot. Gives me more encouragement.
Well, the power of coaching is in the process. It's kind of like preaching. Like you could be 22, 23 and preach a great sermon. It's powerful because the power is in the preaching.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I just appreciate your courage to jump into this program and just be, because coaching is intimidating. I'm 47 and learning how to do it, and it's intimidating for me. So I just appreciate your willingness to do it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So fully available. Yeah. On time. Yeah. I felt like I was a priority. I felt like I was valued. Um, and I felt really encouraged. You said a couple times that I could, you could tell I really cared about the church, and that meant a lot to me. Um, You were definitely in the moment and balanced, and you were calm. Actually, you have, I don't know if you've been told this. Have other people told you that you're like a easy to talk to, or that you've got a calm presence, or
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's the first time.
okay. Well, as a coach, you do. As a coach, you have like a calm presence about you,
I appreciate that.
which is cool. I like unconditional positive regard. You definitely were cheering me on and listening good. Um, you built trust and you did a good job of asking follow-up questions. Um, and it was kind of hard. I put you in kind of a hard position because it wasn't just a traditional coaching call, but you could have done a little more at the beginning of the session to so that we were both clear about what exactly the conversation was going to be about.
Totally.
Although, like I said, it was kind of unfair to you in the sense of I didn't really just act like a client as far as with a coach. But
I love, no, that was great for me. Like I definitely, yeah, I like this because it makes me step out of my comfort zone. And
yeah,
now like I appreciate the feedback that you're giving me because yeah, I definitely could have been more clear on trying to figure out what we were gonna figure out, you know?
yeah, and make sure if you do a coaching call with the client that if you talk about confidentiality, that you spend more time being very specific about what that means.
Okay. Yeah.
And you kind of glossed over, like you and I do it. We've been doing this program, so we know what the other person is
Hmm.
talking about, but you'd want to be more clear, like this is confidential unless, you
Yeah.
know, unless you're breaking, the law, or I know, that you're going to harm yourself or harm somebody else, then I have to break confidentiality.
Yeah. I definitely, yeah, glazed over that. I could have spent like
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
a structured sentence talking about it.
Yeah, you might even want to write it down,
Mm.
just like if I'm going to talk about confidentiality, this is the couple of sentences I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I loved your humility and you were respectful and definitely didn't feel like you were stepping on my boundaries, and also didn't feel like you were just, I mean, it definitely felt like you were your own person too the whole time. You were able to ask some tough questions about what are we doing, right now to attract younger people. I thought that was really good. Um, yeah, helping me create a positive vision for the future, absolutely. And gave me some great ideas and some ways to think about it. And then you did ask me a couple times as far as action steps, and I just kind of said, well, I'm not sure yet because I have to think about it. But just knowing what I loved about what you had to say, that was so important. And again, you might not know this about your grandparents' generation in church, but high energy would not have been a priority for them. They don't care about energy. Um,
Yeah.
they don't care about community as much. They don't care as much about authenticity. Um, and emotions are not as important to them. I'm only speaking out of my own experience, of course, but I think that's
Oh,
in general, I think that's true.
I can definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so your generation needs a church experience that is authentic, involves community, and would be a more shared experience of teaching and learning, and would include a wide variety of people, not just one person doing the teaching and everyone goes home, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a little bit different nowadays, I think.
Yeah. Which is good. That's good. God's doing a new thing, which I think is good.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So stop the recording.